we're going to talk about the first time the Ottomans were able to grab some territory in Europe. Now, with that said, I must say, Europe then was not like Europe today, okay? It had not yet looted and colonized the entire world. So it was poor. No, really, it was just coming out of the Dark Ages. It was just going towards Renaissance when this period took place. Hi, my name is Misha and welcome to Tarihi Tales. This video is a part of the Ottoman history series, and if you want to see more videos about that, head on over to the link here and also in the description box. Also, if you like my videos, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and you can head on over to Patreon if you really love me and want to help me out. Thank you. So, our story begins in the 1340s with the death of the Byzantine Emperor Andronicus III. His death basically plunged the Byzantine Empire into civil war because there was a succession battle. One of the men that claimed the throne of the Byzantine Empire was John VI Cantacuzene. I'll be calling him John from here on out. He was the advisor of the last Byzantine emperor. Now, during this time period, the ruler of the Ottomans was a man called Orhan. He was a son of Osman, and Osman was the founder of the Ottoman Empire. So, seeing this internal strife, Orhan decided to side with John VI. And to really show how much he's committed to his side and his cause, he also married his daughter, Theodora, in the year 1346. But this detail, that he married the daughter of John VI, is something that we learn from the Byzantine Empire's records. The Ottoman histories never mention this marriage. They don't talk about Orhan marrying Theodora at all. So, as is the case with most history, there's a bit of a confusion. Now, remember this John Philip because he was literally the key that led the Ottomans into gaining a foothold in Europe. Another key player that you should keep in mind are the Genoese. Because before all of this happened, in the background, there's like a war going on between the Venetians and the Genoese. And the Ottomans, Orhan, is basically siding with the Genoese, and on multiple occasions, he's basically helped them out. And soon, they'll be returning the favor. So in 1352, John basically invited more than 6,000 Ottoman troops into Europe to help John with the civil war because he needed men. And here's where the Genoese really come in because they were the people who provided the ships that all of these Ottoman troops used to get across the Bosphorus and into the area of Thrace. Now, this was an outpost on the eastern side of Gallipoli, and it was Orhan's son, Suleiman Pasha, who was basically in charge of leading these men. And Suleiman was able to take back this area of Thrace from the other party, right? But rather than giving it back to John, Suleiman decided to bring in more troops from Anatolia and lay siege to the fortresses in the Gallipoli Peninsula. Now, the siege lasted for a while, and just as the siege was getting way too long and the Ottomans could have lost, help came for the Ottomans. Now, before I tell you what help exactly came, I want to tell you again that we only hear about this help factor from the Byzantine sources. There's no mention of any of this in the Ottoman histories. And the reason historians are more likely to believe the Byzantine histories is because those were written at that time. They were being written in the 1300s as these things were happening. As for the Ottoman histories, they were only started to be written down 150 years after the death of Osman. So that's the reason that historians tend to believe the Byzantine sources more. Now, the Byzantines mention that in 1354, an earthquake shook the empire. And it's the same earthquake that basically broke down a lot of the walls in these fortresses in the area of Gallipoli. And the Byzantines actually mention this in their history as like a reason as to why they lost. They blame it on the earthquake, that because of the earthquake, the Ottomans were able to take this land. And it could be true. But again, history needs to be taken with a grain of salt because we don't know exactly what happened. But one thing that the Byzantines and the Ottomans both agree on is the fact that Gallipoli was now taken by the Turks. And as soon as they took it, they also called in more reinforcements and basically had the fortresses rebuilt and secured the area. This conquest actually shook the entirety of Europe, and calls arose from a lot of different areas calling for a crusade against these Muslims. And historians also agree that taking Gallipoli was a very important step which gave them a stronghold in Europe from where they launched more attacks into European territories and were able to gain a lot more land. So there you go. That is exactly how the Ottomans first were able to conquer some area in Europe. Okay, that's it for this video. See you guys next time. Again, if you liked it, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and you can also head on over to my Patreon. Bye.